Hey there, and welcome to Not Now in Theaters. My name is Will Turntail, and I'm a writer and film fan from California. On this podcast, I first-time watch cult classics, B-movies, underseen foreign films, and more. Then I have a not-so-serious breakdown of what makes them great or not so great, and discuss the movie's lasting influence. My goal here is to introduce you to some less traditional, quote-unquote, classic movies you might like to see, or if you've already seen it, give you a deeper connection to what's great about it. So for this episode, we're revisiting the Motown Records-produced The Last Dragon. It's a martial arts comedy that's a lot more entertaining than a glorified commercial should be. A quick statement before we begin. Making films is hard, and you have to respect that. This is a fan's blog, so any criticisms are meant to be constructive. Also, my reviews can contain spoilers. I don't know how else to talk about the film in detail without them, so if that bothers you, well, I did warn you. Okay, now on to the show. The Last Dragon 1985 review, Bruce Leroy and Motown music. The Last Dragon could have been called The Last Shot. In 1985, record producer Berry Gordy and his legendary Motown records were in steep decline. The failure of The Wiz, the Motown-produced 1978 adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, was a massive black eye for the company. It tanked at the box office, bringing Gordy's foray into film production to a stop. And his record label was reeling, with talent like Diana Ross and Michael Jackson departing. Yet Gordy, a former boxer, got up from the mat and convinced new player TriStar Pictures to finance his next effort, The Last Dragon. And no, it's hard to describe this strange beast. It's a mashup of everything a music producer can lump together to try and connect with the kids. Comedy, Bruce Lee and martial arts, emerging hip-hop culture, and a vehicle for product placement. Motown's vanity in the cast, an embedded DeBarge music video, and Coca-Cola seen all over the film. It's also a movie where martial artists can glow, among other oddities. But this is no hack job. Vaunted director Michael Schultz was at the helm, eager to deliver a film with a young black hero, a rarity in 1985. And unlike many colorful films from the 1980s that are cult classics today, The Last Dragon was a bona fide success, bringing in $33 million against its $10 million budget. But that doesn't guarantee this late-stage Motown highlight is a classic film still worth your time today. So is The Last Dragon a good movie? The plot of The Last Dragon. The movie is about a black martial arts pupil named, quote, Bruce Leroy Green. For his final training, Leroy's master sends him on a quest to find someone named Some Dumb Goy, a mysterious figure who can help him unlock the power of, quote, the glow. So as Leroy searches for Goy, he is continually harassed by the, quote, Shogun of Harlem, Sho'Nuff, and his gang. Sho'Nuff wants to bait Leroy into accepting his challenge so he can prove he's the baddest fighter in Harlem. While that seems like enough for the plot of this movie, it actually has another villain too. Meanwhile, this arcade tycoon named Eddie Arcadian plots to strong-arm a local VJ named Laura Charles. Arcadian's girlfriend, Angela Veraco, is a singer, and Arcadian wants Laura Charles to show Angela's music video on her popular TV show. Laura refuses to air the video, and Arcadian retaliates by sending his goons to kidnap her. Luckily, Leroy rescues Laura from the kidnapping, but unluckily, he's now made an enemy of Arcadian, who is totally nuts and hell-bent on revenge about this. Laura and Leroy develop a romance, which is too bad for Leroy's hilarious little brother Richie. So, the plot revolves around, will Laura and Leroy fend off crazy Eddie Arcadian, and will Leroy discover the power of, quote, the glow and defeat Sho'Nuff? And just to take you through the cast really quickly here, Leroy Green is played by Taimak. Leroy's master is played by Thomas Ikeda. Sho'Nuff is played by Julius Carey. Eddie Arcadian is played by Christopher Murney. Laura Charles is played by Denise Katrina Matthews, also known as Vanity. And Angela Veraco is played by Faith Prince. And little brother Richie is played by Lee O'Brien. And you can read the rest of the main cast in the show notes. And if you'd like to see a trailer for the movie, you can do that with the link at this point in the transcript over to Sony Pictures Entertainment on YouTube. So let's talk about the good things about this movie. I'll give out some points for everything I really liked. First up, let's call the first good thing Enter the Leeroy and Sho'Nuff. So the opening scenes set the tone for this goofy, good time martial arts adventure and spin up all the plot gears in the movie. As the credits come in, you watch this training montage of so-called Bruce Leroy. There are these zippy, whooshy sound effects as he's punching and kicking that really set the tone for over-the-top fun. And soon Leroy's bashing a wooden dummy while his master inexplicably fires live arrows at him. Then as Leroy chops the pointy missiles down, the camera pulls a snap zoom, like when the camera just suddenly flies in all fast, to the fallen arrowhead on the floor. Then minutes later, we're in a movie theater matinee of Bruce Lee's iconic Enter the Dragon. Leroy is there, munching his popcorn with little chopsticks, and there's a lively audience with him. Some people even try to breakdance in the aisles, because of course. But then Sho'Nuff, complete with his gang's clap and stomp coordinated choreography, enters the theater and wants to crack down on all the fun everybody is having. He challenges anyone in the audience to shut him down, and this over-the-top brawl breaks out. As if everyone in Harlem knows Kung Fu, people just come on the stage and throw strikes at him. So in the real world, Leroy would be impaled by his master's arrows, and Sho'Nuff would just be laughed out of the theater, but they aren't. So the opening scenes do a solid job of establishing the stretched reality that the film is having fun in. So let's give 6 points for this. And if you'd like to see that scene I just mentioned where Sho'Nuff and his goons fight people in the movie theater, you can do that with a link at this point in the transcript over to Box Office Movie Scenes on YouTube. Next up, let's talk about how there's a touch of the surreal in this movie. Hitting theaters in '85, this movie landed smack dab in the middle of the flamboyant 1980s and is like a parade of all its oddball wonders. Yet it also embraces a touch of the surreal. Rock, who's played by Mike Starr, who I often mistake for that actor Danny Aiello, Rock gleefully feeds entire pig legs to piranha, or perhaps mutated sea bass that lurk in Eddie Arcadian's fish tank. I guess it looks like you can't get far in the arcade business without making a few threats. It's strange, and you wonder why he has this piranha tank. Angela, a parody of Madonna or Cyndi Lauper, wears a nonsensical purple triangle on her head and seems wrapped up in a baby's plush snake toys. I have a link to a picture of that on IMDb at this point in the transcript if you want to see, but it's really weird. And then later in the film, she's performing her horrible traffic light music number with flashing lights over her chest, almost like a traffic light bra. Sho'Nuff and his goon squad look like a gang Cyrus left off the guest list for the gathering in the opening parts of The Warriors, but they sure can dig their animal prints and studded accessories. And the venerable William H. Macy has a cameo in a tinfoil Technicolor Dreamcoat, which I have to link here in the transcript too if you want to see this weird jacket that he has. And of course there's the power of, quote, the glow. It's made by what I think is that filmmaking special effects called rotoscoping, where you draw on top of the film. For reference, I think it's what they made the lightsabers with in the old Star Wars movies. So with the glow, if you have the power inside, you can flare your own jazzy warm nightlight. You get this nice little glow around you, and its color seems to be red for the bad people and lighter for people with good intentions. I don't know. But it's a bit of a weird idea to have people have this inner fire that glows on the outside. So plus 3 points for all the film's bizarre touches. Next up, let's talk about the fun performances. Lee O'Brien's Richie is Leroy's hip, smack-talking kid brother. He steals many of the scenes he's in. He's this precocious loudmouth who has the confidence to try and hit on the much older TV star Laura, and he's the perfect foil for his Eastern culture-obsessed, naive sibling Leeroy. O'Brien's charm lets him rip playfully on Leeroy or dance wiggle out of the ropes the villains try to tie him up with. And speaking of, despite starring as Leeroy, this was Taimak's first film, and he had no formal acting training. Director Michael Schultz had to teach him the fundamentals as they went along. But Taimak's awkward performance, so straight with the silly material, works. Because he's awkward, it feels innocent and makes his fish out of water in his own backyard character work. Had it been more tongue-in-cheek, it actually could have fallen apart. But as good as they are, the prize performance goes to Julius Carry's Sho'Nuff. He's like a character you could slip into those loud and hilarious Old Spice commercials with Terry Crews, but even better. Most of Sho'Nuff's scenes are like pro wrestling promos, and you can tell the actor is just having a blast. Like a villain from The Karate Kid, he shouts at full volume and never winks at the audience at all. He shows no mercy to Leroy's dad's pizza joint when he busts in and demands to know where Leroy is, or when he shows up at Leroy's dojo and orders him to kiss my Converse. I can't do a good impression of it, but it's one of the movie's most memorable lines. I have to say that Sho'Nuff is now actually one of my favorite villains, just because you can't help but enjoy his malice. So plus 6 points for these enjoyable performances. Oh, and if you'd like to see Sho'Nuff and his gang trash the pizza parlor, you can watch that with the link here in the transcript over on YouTube at Rotten Tomatoes Movie Clips, and I encourage you to do it. Next, let's give some credit for the movie's actual martial arts. This is a comedy martial arts film, but it's thankfully not a spoof movie. Taimak is a real martial artist, and martial artist/actor Ron Van Cleef did choreography. And Van Cleef trained up the inexperienced Julius Carry so that villain Sho'Nuff's threats weren't just empty words. Yeah, had the movie mailed in the fight scenes, it would have shattered the tone and slipped into slapstick. So 2 more points for the choice to invest in real martial arts here. And if you'd like to see some of Leroy's battle with Sho'Nuff, you can do that with the link here in the transcript over to Rotten Tomatoes Movie Clips on YouTube. All right, so now let's talk about what doesn't work quite as well in this movie. First up, let's talk about how Motown missed the mark here. As a movie that's a glorified Motown commercial, the entire music video for DeBarge's Billboard-topping hit Rhythm of the Night plays on Laura's TV show. It's not even subtle, it's just like, we're gonna do the whole music video now. But Motown really was on its way out if these were the best punches producer Gordy could throw. The critics' pick was Stevie Wonder's song, quote, Upset Stomach. And that title sounds like an unintentional warning about the rest of the soundtrack. 2 of the movie's songs were nominated for awards, just the Golden Raspberry kind, not the Grammys kind. The first is Vanity's Seventh Heaven. It's a song she performs not so much dancing as awkwardly gesturing and holding her ground. But you can't blame her because the song's a hot mess. Like, you can't find the beat against the blaring of synthesizers and horrible guitar in it. The second is the forgettable title theme. It manages to be like the most generic 80s tune you can make without stumbling into anything exciting at all. It's upbeat, but lacks a guitar or keyboard hook that can stick with you. It just keeps saying, "You are the last dragon." It's like, so what? So let's deduct 3 points for the disappointing music. And if you want to see the musical number for Seventh Heaven as it appears, as it happens in the movie, you can do that with a link here in the transcript over to Rotten Tomatoes Movie Clips on YouTube. Next, let's talk about how, quote, authentic doesn't mean compelling. Just like, quote, authentic Asian takeout can get upstaged by fusion street eats from a trendy food truck, the film's martial arts are legitimate but bland. It's a real letdown. I wasn't expecting flashy Hong Kong action film flair, but the movie is low on stunts or novel fighting environments. Bruce Lee imitations are its only trick. And those only work when it's Shaolin Soccer, which you can actually click a link to a really cool scene from that movie here. Because the goalie in Shaolin Soccer is, a Bruce Lee imitation. And the ending goes Three Ninjas or B-movie anti-classic Tiger Heart, which I doubt too many listeners have heard of, but you'll understand the reference here in a second. These kids from Leroy's dojo, like short enough to fail the "you must be this tall" test to ride solo at a theme park, take on Eddie Arcadian's baddies, like turning things into a playground of dumb chaos. But at least there's a cameo in that part from Ernie Reyes Jr., who was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, the guy that played Kino, the pizza delivery guy. So it's fun to see him, but let's deduct 3 points for this, because it's just stupid. Lastly, like 3 Halloween parties in a week, the movie overstays its welcome. A film you'd peg at 90 minutes tops crawls its way to 107. After an hour or so, it has milked the jokes from its solid premise and tries to grow up into being a movie, but it can't find solid legs. Since the combat isn't breathtaking, you're not awaiting that final showdown with Sho'Nuff like a boxing match to end a Rocky movie or something, you know? And Leroy and Laura's somewhat endearing romance is just a simple matter of getting over his shyness. I wish the film would either have cut some of its scenes or found a way to trim their length, because it has no business being this long. So let's take away 4 points for the excessive length. Okay, so if we add up all the positives and negatives, I've got 7 arbitrary points here for this movie. So on my scale of let's not watch, should I watch, or go watch this movie, I'm gonna hand it my should I watch rating. The Last Dragon is a wacky, enjoyable mesh of kung fu films and 80s culture with an at times surreal touch. But while it has some fun performances, the martial arts are pedestrian. It runs out of gas before it's over, and the Motown soundtrack is the whimpers of a dying brand. Casual filmgoers may not be in love here. Still, anyone nostalgic for the 80s will find total gold, as it's a complete product of that decade. I really hope they don't remake this movie for that reason. So if you want a few laughs and want to see a genuinely odd idea to help connect kung fu loving kids with the magic of Motown, check out The Last Dragon. So what is the legacy of The Last Dragon? Well, first up, you have to acknowledge it as a cult classic. And though I'm an outsider here, I've read that Leroy Green and the movie as a whole was embraced by the black community. The movie, and especially Sho'Nuff, gets plenty of references to this day and is considered a piece of pop culture. Even though the film was a modest hit, it didn't score as big as Motown had hoped. I don't know that the movie's performance is what led to this, but I know that in June of 1988, just about 3 years after release, Gordy sold his interest in Motown to MCA. He got $61 million in 80s dollars for it though, so I don't think he made out too bad. I haven't confirmed it, but I think that's about $135 million in today's dollars. He also got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that year. Director Michael Schultz kept making movies, TV movies, and has worked in TV shows and theaters since. In 1991, he was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. Along with The Last Dragon, he's also directed movies like the Def Jam Records hip-hop inspired Crush Groove, which you may have heard of, or 1976's Car Wash. Lead actor Taimak has remained a pop cultural figure and continued with acting, though he's still most known for The Last Dragon. He opened his own gym in Manhattan in 2002, according to Wikipedia, and published a fitness DVD called Taimak Fit, which I guess means Find Inner Transformation. Julius Carey, who played Sho'Nuff, sadly died of pancreatic cancer in 2008 at just 56 years old. But before his death, he continued acting, mostly known for TV work. His career on television stretched from 1980 to 2006. Most known to me, Carey was Lord Bowler in The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., and he was also on Murphy Brown, Boy Meets World, and Family Matters. Denise Catherine Matthews, also known as Vanity for a time, who played Laura Charles, she sadly passed away in 2016 at just 57 years old, so it's at least 2 tragic deaths on this movie. Though she had started out as a singer and a protege of sorts to Prince, she did continue her acting career. She appeared in a really terrible but loved because it's a terrible movie with John Stamos called Never Too Young to Die, which has been on an episode of Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst. So it's one of those so bad it's good type of classics. But she also appeared in some more films like Action Jackson. And lastly, I haven't mentioned a few of the other little cameos in this movie yet. I did mention him in a coat, but there's the venerable William H. Macy, a name you probably know or a face you'd probably recognize. He was in Fargo and Magnolia, among many others. And randomly, Chaz Palminteri has that small role as, quote, Hood number 2. I think he's one of the goons that Leroy fights. Palminteri is that other mob boss you'd recognize, so not a De Niro or a Pacino, but like the other one. Probably he's most well known for his work on A Bronx Tale, where he plays Sonny. And in The Usual Suspects, he plays Agent Dave Kuyan, who is, of course, the cop doing the interrogating in the movie and dropping the coffee cup in the most dramatic fashion possible at the end there. All right, that's a bit of an odd place to stop again, but that's all I got about this movie. So thank you so much for listening. I hope I persuaded you to check this movie out, or if you've already seen it, brought you a better appreciation for what it did. And if you like this episode, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. Reviews help new shows like mine get discovered, and I would appreciate your taking 1 minute or two to share your thoughts. Just 1 minute, anything would help. And if you've seen it, what do you think of The Last Dragon? Does it hold a special place for you, or is it actually just a forgettable movie? You can reach out and let me know on Blue Sky using the link in the transcript right here. Or if you want to look for me, you'll find me as Will Turntail, and it is under the name at not-ni-theaters.bsky.social. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. Introduction music, Neon Laser Horizon by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. The exit music, Voxel Revolution by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. I don't know if I need to read all these, but I do it anyway. Additional music, Cloud Dancer and Newer Wave by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Goodbye for now.